is the Elise. You get the Cocoon, really good CC. You're able to reset tower aggro as well. One of the other premier picks alongside a Renekton for early pressure topside, the Nidalee here. Wiz and Parang, an incredible duo. They have directly acknowledged that here in draft for game one. So we will have to keep an eye on what Guigo can do trying to absorb pressure topside, because I can guarantee you Wiz will go up there and try to get things rolling for Kabum here in this early game. So we'll keep an eye on it. A little bit of posturing around the topside river. We are on to the Rift for our first game of the day, ladies and gentlemen. A huge best of 5 between these two squads. On the loser side of the bracket, important to note, whoever loses here, their year is done. The winner will meet Furia next weekend.
Oof, it's so much pressure too to watch all of these teams competing for that same like glorious world spot. We've seen, especially at MSI this year, some pretty serious success coming out of Brazil just as a region in general, causing a lot of problems for especially like lesser regions like NA trying to make it out of group stages and Brazil just pulling them straight to hell. It's the same thing with a lot of other minor regions like LCO. We kind of see that behavior coming out of them. And so I think that the last 2 years of MSI for these minor regions have been insane, and I just want to see them cause some trouble at Worlds. So regardless of who heads out there, I just hope it's Canids. Sorry guys, I got a little bit of a bias here. But I'm really excited to see if Kabum can actually, because I'm with you when I say that, like, Kabum has probably been showing a little bit more consistency, whereas Canids, I think they have the good strategic mind, but the execution just has not been there quite as consistently. So whoever goes on, honestly, deserves 2 out of this best of 5, and we should just kick back and really enjoy the gameplay here.
Hey, I agree with you. I'm definitely going to enjoy it. And this is Red Canids trying to keep that international streak going, right? They
Yeah.
had that huge miracle run in the summer playoffs last year that got them to Worlds. They made it to MSI in spring, and they're looking to make it 3 international tournaments in a row. They have
Oh,
certainly been a great contender in CBLOL for a reason. They have one of the best bot lanes in Brazil. Teton coming into playoffs here led all players in CBLOL in kills, and also Grevthar leading all mid laners in kills this split. So they'll be looking to lean on those 2 power players here up against a team that is a little more topside centric. Duds the Boy was really solid this split, and so was House, but Parang is still, in my opinion, the focal point of this team, and I think that shows with a Renekton pick. And guess what? Wiz is in the top side. They're looking for a possible dive here against Guigo. Parang going to get this wave to crash. One spear not going to land there onto Guigo, but they're going to start to apply this pressure. They want this Ornn to have to back away from this tower, but Aegis on their way to the top side. Meanwhile, Grevthar flashing into the mid lane to pick up first blood, but we're right back to the top side. Parang dashing in and out, but is going to fall. Aegis going to pick up that kill in Red Canids off to a hot start.
gosh, it's so melancholy seeing the crowd here and not being able to cheer with them. This is such an incredible start for Canids right now, especially even with that missing spear on the Nidalee. You didn't even need the extra damage to get through and make it happen because Grevthar already caused trouble in the mid lane. I honestly believe that actually stops them from being too effective during that dive as well and losing everything. I mean, you look over, your homie's dead and you got nothing to show for it. So great moves from the entire team here, starting off on an explosive note. But we do have a little bit of devastation here on the top. That's pretty funny, actually. It was like the best laid plans. Like we were both hoping for a pretty flawless top dive here, especially because, you know, this Renekton Nidalee combination really is doing exactly what it's meant to do, but unfortunately, like I said, it really almost feels like that first blood in mid lane just like caused Kabum's brains to like frizzle a bit there. So
Yeah, it's also important to note that those, early top lane dives are not nearly the same thing post durability update. It's much
oh
more
yeah.
difficult to work through that Ornn's health bar. And they're going up here to fight Guigo once again, but Aegis sneaking into the brush there. They get the surprise here onto Parang. The Renekton is going to fall. A new pair of Croc leather shoes there for Guigo, and now Wiz going to have to run for the hills. Just going to try and clear out this wave. Pillar thrown down by Aegis. They're just going to be able to crash this, deny some further CS here from Parang, who, important to note, already used teleport after dying the first time. Some more damage here onto House. Grevthar abusing this Ahri in this early game.
I know that early pressure on this Swain is so nasty, especially because, you don't have your boots. You don't really have anything reliably to walk out of all of that range and all of that. I mean, he's got like a fat range and a long, he's just a good guy, that Swain. He's got everything covered here. It makes it really difficult to walk out of it if you don't have any sort of dash or anything. So, solid matchup. Really rough though, because we have seen Gripthar just go ahead and destroy most mid laners during the lane phase, and then having that free ability to roam becomes an extremely snowballing problem for teams coming forward in the future. So we're hoping that doesn't happen, but that already seems to be the case in the plan here, especially because that Ahri is not able to even step out. But I'm hoping that we'll see a little bit of something come out from this bot lane, because we haven't really seen anything exceptional from either side, but I do believe that the scaling on Kabum can be good. I'm just a little bit worried about Wiz's place in the actual fill out here. I'm a little bit worried because Nidalee doesn't scale very well, has, sort of a flanking role in the later games, and like, who is she going to flank for in this case? Is it going to be Lucian? I don't necessarily see I don't see that happening. So I'm starting to feel a little bit worried. Hopefully this is not results-based analysis, but the scaling on Kabum, not incredible, unless the members of Canids decide to not go for full-on team fights, which right now they're in a perfect position to just coast through this lane phase and then scale to team fights.
And you could say a lot of the same things about the Renekton, right? Doesn't scale into the late game, especially not as well when you compare it to a pick like the Ornn, who is
Oh yeah.
incredible, becomes an absolute wall in the late game, has such an effective ultimate in team fights. So it's very much on Kabum. They need to right the ship here very quickly, get some things rolling on the top side. And we'll see what they can do. Wiz down to the bottom lane, not spotted out courtesy of that pink ward from their bottom lane, and Jojo and Teton just holding under the tower here. This wave is going to crash, and looks like Wiz wants to start to apply some pressure. Spear over the wall is going to hit a minion, so won't land any damage there onto the red bottom lane. But looks like Jojo and Teton electing to back away. That is going to be the ultimate there out of Teton. The bubble isn't going to land, but a lot of damage there as Skuro has to flash out from under the tower. Teton going to dash away, but isn't going to get to safety. Wiz able to pick up that kill. Kabum finally on the board.
Yeah, and it looks like the response from Canids was to go top and see if they could find anything with that Renekton. Unfortunately, nothing, but they do have mid pushed in, so hope is not lost. They're going to go ahead and invade, grab that red, and then likely either swing over to Herald or at least prevent them, Kabum, from taking any advantages there. So, yes, it's kind of a pittance to be able to take that red, but it looks like we also have them going back for this top dive, so they may actually still be able to make this delayed value come out. We see the Ornhorn come out here and take it away, so...
Oh no, Parang in trouble, sliced in onto Guigo to try and take the 1v1, but didn't have the vision onto Aegis, who was coming in for the flank. A well-placed pillar denies the escape there from Parang, and they fall. The Ornhorn setting up that kill very easily, and Guigo is in a phenomenal spot right now. 2-0-1 start here for the Ornn is already becoming nearly impossible for Parang to deal with in the 1v1 thanks to the early armor picked up, and this Ornn is going to be a very big problem here coming into the mid game.
Yeah, a big goatee problem that is now seriously become like, honestly, it's almost difficult to become excited when an Ornn gets ahead, just because it's like, hey man, he just gets more dense, he just gets stronger. But the reality is that, yeah, he gets more thick, but the reality is that a whale, like a very well-fed Ornn actually has really incredible 1v1 potential versus a Renekton who can't manage to outbuild him. He needs to at least stay toe-to-toe, and once he starts to get those upgrades as well, this is already spiraled well out of control. So what Parang needs to do now is actually focus on his build for the future. So we kind of need to take a look at his items, take stock. I mean, I don't want to look at them now because it actually physically pains me to see where they're at, but we'll check back up on that and we'll see if he's going for more of a tanky bruiser sort of deal, because he is no longer capable of going head to head versus this Ornn in any world whatsoever. So that's a great level of independence for the Ornn on the side of Canids. And now look at this mess, Yeso!
Oh, Aegis has to run for the hills. He is going to get caught by the Renata Glask ultimate, and that will assist in a couple of kills there for the side of Kabum. Teton and Aegis are down. Jojo going to get caught, meaning a double kill there for House, and that is exactly what Kabum is looking for. Parang, one of the focal points of this team, but if you can get this Ahri going and free her up to move around the map, it will open up a lot of opportunities for your team. And guess what? The Ahri and the Aphelios, they scale fairly well. So this is a good infusion of gold. They're going to get the Rift Herald down in the bottom lane as well, which means not only more plate gold for Duds the Boy, but first tower gold as well. This is huge for Kabum as they pick up the first Drake.
Absolutely. So we see they've picked up Rift Herald. They've gone ahead and picked up 2 kills for their mid lane Ahri, as well as that first turret with that Rift Herald on bot. So compounding those losses, I mean, at what cost is Red Canids willing to go to continue to try to lean into this playstyle of picks while getting picked themselves? I mean, you see how hard they get punished here just for being slightly careless in their roam. And of course, the trash talk starts now. You know what's fun about CBLOL is that once the trash talk starts, things go really downhill very fast for the team on the back end. It's insane to me how that affects people's mental.
It went bad there for Parang as the 4-man dive catches out the Renekton, and House quickly follows a shutdown there for Aegis. They will trade back 1 kill there onto Guigo Skuro, going to pick that one up. Also, the funniest part of that replay, and I will never get used to it, is the Renata Glask ultimate hitting Aegis right after he activates his Q, and Aegis immediately walks over to Teton and just chomps down on the Lucian to finish the kill. I absolutely just love seeing it. It's so funny to notice. But a couple more kills there for the side of Red. Kabum pick one up back in return. So love the fact that Red pretty quickly respond to that play going wrong in the bottom lane, and they still feel confident. Hey, we could just go for a dive up here top lane. We've got the numbers. They execute on it well. Parang teleporting back into the top side here. Guigo also using their teleport. So both top laners without that key summoner spell here. Unleash TP coming up very soon for both of them, so they will have that teleport available soon enough, but we'll have to see what kind of map movements here are the plan. No neutral objectives for the time being. 3 minutes till that Mountain Drake. It's going to be a little bit until we see the next Rift Herald. So now just the heavy focus towards the towers as Teton will clear out this wave in mid. Grevthar down to the bottom lane.
Yeah, everybody handshakes, and we know exactly who owns that top side. Sorry, the blue side with the blue buff. Like, everybody's like, oh, there's so much red there. There's too many wards. We are not walking into that jungle. You can have our blue buff, and we will go back to lane. So we've all handshook. We've decided to pretend it's back to the lane phase. Despite all of that, this Aphelios is taking off, and that's honestly really, really terrifying. For, like I had said, we were hoping to kind of see how these bot lanes shake out, to see how the teams want to react going forward. And with this Aphelios actually like starting to sort of gain a little bit of ground, you're starting to see this Renata gain a little bit of autonomy, starting to roam a little bit. Plus the Ahri coming out of Swain recovery, because who has not been in the Swain cage so frustrated, waiting to crest out into that mid-scaling? I really think that Kabum, despite all odds, I mean, Red just didn't lay down the pain when they had the stacks to do so. So it's a little disappointing to see this, because I do think that Red drafted better, but Kabum is really starting to play to their strengths here. They did manage to catch Red. They caught them out when they basically defaulted to a lazier playstyle that they're used to playing. You know, that separation near the dragon pit where they weren't being very cohesive. So just a couple of mistakes, Yeso, and that's all it takes to put you on the back foot. I'm not saying that Kabum has won this game so far, but they have laid down the foundation for a very solid team fight, so it's just a matter of time to see if Red's superior draft can actually make up the small difference in gold that we have here. So sorry for the long aside. Got really excited about that. I think this is a very lovely game state for Kabum to be in right now, and not too terrifying for Red. So I think we're still in a good spot for some banger game.
Yeah, I think the one thing Red has to be concerned about is that Aphelios is a ticking time bomb. The
Gross,
Lucian
so gross.
doesn't scale nearly as well as that Aphelios. The Aphelios getting that nice infusion of gold, courtesy of that Rift Herald on the bot side. 3 assists, not doing a ton, but well farmed up. Does have that first item, and if he could start, if Does the Boy starts picking up kills, it's going to go very wrong, very fast for Red here. How's
Yeah.
dashing forward is going to split the uprights there with
Ari, good
the
God.
charm. Very, very close, but How's feeling confident here,
Be
dashing in and
aggressive.
out here with the Red Canids, as that's going to be the Ornhorn knocking up the bottom lane there, but Red can't go any further. How's in Wiz hold the line, force Red Canids to back away. Aegis fairly low here, does have, importantly, that Trundle ultimate, which can certainly get him back and healthier here. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. But Red starting to work their way down towards the Drake. 15 seconds till that spawns. They will take the Scuttle Crab, some vision control, and that movement speed for them on the bottom side. Good little bit of damage there from Grevthar. And here comes the flank from Guigo.
Nice.
Is going to get the knock up onto one, but the Aphelios ultimate hits just about everybody. The wave will come through, but Skuro gets the killing spree, and Red Cannon's running for the hills. Low health bars on a couple, but down goes Parang. It's a 1-for-1 so far. Both top laners are dead. Now, Kabum starting to posture. They have taken over this bot side river. Aegis trying to sustain off of the chickens.
Haven't we all found a chicken nugget under our bed after a wild night of partying, trying so hard to keep it together? That was a really great team fight. I just cannot see how Tichan can actually live in any of these on that Lucian. It's just a really difficult team fight when you don't have a very good,
And won't even live here.
You don't even need a team fight.
House.
Don't even need a team fight. Don't even need to speculate, because getting caught out is sometimes just the name of the game. It's pretty rough. That particular move felt very much like a defeatist, like, let's go next, let's start the game over sense, but we'll just have to see how it goes. Of course, I am not the players themselves, but like I was saying, it's hard for him to survive in those team fights when you've got such a difficult setup for where your team fights need to be, and you can't be there first. So Red definitely wants to be set up in there first, and they have not managed to be there at any of these objectives to actually meet Kabum. So maybe me of little faith, but I am having trouble understanding where they can come back as far as tempo goes. So it looks like it's Grevthar is actually taking it very personally and is looking up to individual play to potentially maybe make this one work. He's standing there against all odds, trying to keep this one together. So I'm actually really interested to see how this next objective will go. This Rift Herald is probably going to cause a lot of problems for Red if they don't find a pick.
Oh, that's the boy! It's just gonna get deleted! Teton found him in the mid lane, and they're fighting in the topside river, but the 80 carry is down. Raid boss is dead. House is still very scary, but taking that Aphelios off the table opens the door here for the Red Canids.
Oof. That's really, really good. I was trying to gently set up here that those picks are incredibly essential, because taking somebody off the board there, being able to get that extra kill, and then just not having that Aphelios to worry about allows them to secure this objective effortlessly. So going forward, who do we want to get rid of in this composition? It's going to be Duds the Boy, essentially, in order for Red to continue to forge their way through this. Look at
what a TP flank from Guigo. Wiz running for the hills is going to get away. A very interesting setup there from the top laner, the Red Canids. Grevthar is running away, but will not be able to escape from House. That's a shutdown there for the Arya. Now looking for the charm onto Aegis. Isn't going to land it. Fancy feet there from Aegis will avoid that bit of CC, but is not going to save Aegis' life here ultimately. But Jojo there just in time for the heal, and somehow Aegis survives.
Much like this is a warm-up game for me mentally and emotionally, watching Wiz try and hit a javelin and then that one didn't work out very well. You know what? I'm not gonna transform, and I'm not gonna try to hit it with a trap so that I can move forward. I'm just gonna let him go. You know what? Today, troll, you live.
You
it was
it.
Just the
felt like I was watching Gladiator, and it gave him the thumbs up. You can live.
Yeah, you can live today. That was very much it seemed very laissez-faire, which is funny, but I'm actually quite enjoying, like, even though these plays are definitely less refined than I've seen in the past, but this is a first game. It does look like everybody's kind of like playing each other's, like kind of testing each other's strengths, seeing where they're at, seeing where they're performing, and seeing what the priorities are. And it definitely seems like Red's priorities are just kind of trying to spread out and get picks, but getting picked instead, which once again, Kaboom with the consistency and, Red with the strategic picks. But again, if the picks aren't there to be had, you can't just be out there standing in the enemy jungle to get picked. So, so what do you think's gonna happen at this Baron? Who do we think is gonna come out ahead? Do you think are gonna be the picks for Red to get, or do you think Kaboom is just going to keep it low and keep it down until they see an opening?
It just feels so dependent on whether Guigo can get off a good ultimate, because I feel like if
Agreed.
Guigo can catch a House or a Duds the Boy, you do have the damage potential on Red between Grevthar and Teton to delete them. If you get
Yeah.
that knock up in range, they can take that priority target out. So if Guigo can set up that ultimate well, it bodes so well for Red Canids. But you also have to remember that Skuro can just throw that Renata Glask ultimate out to kind of counter that entire engage. So there's a handful of moving parts here, but I'm leaning towards Red Canids just because we know how good that Ornn can be here in the late game. So we'll have to see how it shakes out. Guigo is split pushing in the bottom lane. Teleport to mid here from House in 30 seconds on this Infernal Drake.
All right, so the Infernal Drake is where things are. It's sort of that always that third Drake come to Jesus. We see the Herald come out in the mid lane. That's going to provide some much needed space for Red to breathe during this objective, but it looks like we may have a missed
Good
Ornhorn there, which
night.
is too bad. However, this Rift Herald is going to go in, cause a little bit of trouble, add a little bit of help, but they're already still on the back foot. This Aphelios is actually causing some very serious problems in terms of damage because it's like touching a hot stove. Once you get too close, if you're not all there with it to spread the damage.
Oh, what a beautiful bubble there. Catches three, and the
Gorgeous.
bullet from Grevthar has set up the fight. Aegis running for the hills, but Parang is going to get taken down. And now Grevthar setting his eyes on House. Isn't going to lock down the Ahri for the time being, but Guigo has arrived to the assist. House bleeding bit by bit. Grevthar will finally take them down. A wonderful blind bubble there from JoJo, landing
Yes.
onto three, and Grevthar follows up perfectly.
Beautiful call, Yeso. A gorgeous narration of what was an actual gorgeous team fight, displaying some, let's say, out of character patience and discipline from Canids. Instead of seeing that immediate pick, they create a little chaos with the Rift Herald, and then they start getting a little jiggy with it. And once again, Duds the Boy is like touching a hot stove. You have to be very careful with how you're handling him. The whole team has to come together, hold his little arm up, hold his little gun up, and then punch him in the stomach. So the way that they executed that is a dangerous situation, Yiso, and you did such a good job of illustrating. See, they miss the charm on Grevthar, then they get that blind bubble. Oh, such a beautiful. I wish we could. You got to keep that one for your portfolio, man, because that was a very beautiful call. Super dynamic. Yes, and then it's followed up by Grevthar, who like doesn't have any teeth and is like a dog trying to eat an apple here. It was not a great like dynamic. Yeah, not a yeah, exactly, gumming it. Not a great emotional follow-up, but Grevthar has so much shit to talk. Look at him. He's like,
Yes.
I owned you during the lane phase and I own you now.
Yeah. And I will say,
silly as it
correction,
looked.
it was the snare from Grevthar actually that
Yeah.
starts it off. Not the bubble from JoJo, but just says, hey, they may walk through this brush to try and
But come
contest this
on
at the
in.
Drake. Why not? Like, I'll just throw throw a snare out here. We'll see if we catch something, and it grabs three, and immediately
Bubbles
the
are
turn from Red
stupid.
Canids is
JoJo's
wonderful.
bubbles are stupid. Like, even though, even though he engaged with the pull, like, the come hither, swain
Yes.
hither pull, the JoJo bubbles, like, we just saw it again in the mid lane for 2 seconds. Like, those bubbles are so disgusting. He throws them out like you would, like, a bitch slap. Like, it's very much like slap and then, like, walks away. It's a very good, like, the bubbles have been coming in clutch, especially because, like I said, Duds the Boy is such an explosive ADC right now, and you kind of can't really touch him. You have to sort of like put him in a stasis to be able to punch him in the stomach. So Red doing a really good job showing the right amount of respect for that. But it looks like we're gonna have some action here, Ye. So I'm just gonna let you take it away. Tell us a story about your childhood until something breaks out here.
I pushed a kid off of the jungle gym when I was like 5, and they
Plain
broke their
behavior.
arm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Play-by-play
grab with our
behavior,
behavior.
I guess. But that's going to be the wave onto Skuro, and Skuro's going to get taken out. Parang was TPing in for the
Damn!
flank, but is going to get collapsed upon. Duds the Boy is here, and there's low health bars all across. Red
Oh,
Canids will trade 1-for-1 there with Grevthar. So Duds the Boy takes one down, but ultimately, this is a lost fight for Kabum. A double kill here for Guigo. Wiz and House posturing. They know if they can
yeah.
catch one, maybe they can catch them all, but it's Wiz taken out there by Teton, and now Red Canids turning back towards the mid lane, not with their eyes set on this Baron just yet. They're going to clean up some waves, get the map in order, and maybe turn for the big purple worm.
What do you think about how long it took to take Duds the Boy out? It's almost like they forgot he existed for one brief moment. They were like, where's all that damage coming from? They're like, that
Hey,
fly.
you got a big croc in the middle of your team trying to spin to win. I think he is going to draw a lot of your attention.
He really is. He's so, you know what? Of all of the champs in this game, I would say Renekton is the most like pretty distracting boy. You know what I mean? He just does a little spinny spin and you're like, that's the guy. That's the problem. He's the problem. When in reality, Duds the Boy, really so hot, so fiery. I was really impressed with how, well, I shouldn't be impressed. Playing it so fast and loose with Duds the Boy being as dangerous as he is, it makes Red look mega cool, but it is not the most efficient way to victory. So let's just hope that our boys on Red Canids actually pay attention to this ADC and knock him out as quickly as possible and ignore the spinning 072 Renekton.
Well,
Good stuff coming out, though.
And it is important to note, looking at how much work Duds the Boy was able to do in that fight.
So much!
Without his support, right? Skuro was who got engaged on initially and essentially got deleted immediately by the side of Red Canids.
No!
Imagine if Skuro lives, as Parang will just escape there. But if Skuro's alive to peel and create openings for Duds the Boy, I think that fight goes very, very differently. So this Aphelios still incredibly dangerous. 2.5 items there to the 3 for Teton. So Teton very scary. That is going to be the Ornhorn. He is going to catch out House, but will lock down Guigo here momentarily. Dashes away from the knockup, lands the charm. So House still very safe. Had to activate the ultimate, so that is a key tool unavailable for Kabum. If a team fight breaks out here very soon, Teton going to dash away. Lots of poke coming out. That's going to be the wave. Wiz is going to go gold. Grevthar, very confident, stepping forward, looking for the drain tank here. Duds the Boy is going to get caught, pulled away, but gets the Riz. Grevthar gets taken out. Duds the Boy survives.
Oh my gosh, that was really scary. That was not the same amount of patience and discipline we wanted to see from Grevthar. We understand he's a hot-headed Jake Peralta. He can't keep it together for very long. But that's okay. You know what? We're not just here to bag on the mistakes. I really think Kabum has done something very special here, considering that their second tank, their bruiser, is basically completely out of commission. So they've been doing a lot with a little. Let's see if Canids can survive this engagement. They do have a little bit of leeway considering how much of a Chad Guigo is right now, but we'll just have to keep going, have to keep watching, and give it the respect they deserve. I'm glad to see Kabum not actually going for the chase there, because that could be really bad with Grevthar coming on the back end. So let's see them take their leave here, and they are pushing through. You know, I'm glad to see the recovery from Red, because I do think that they lost a lot of their ground in the early game as a result of just, it's not even sloppy plays or mistakes, it's just a lack of aggression. So seeing the aggression coming back out again, we go out here by himself trying to solo. See, like I said, this is the beauty of this scaling Ornn, is like you think that he's just getting beefier, but he actually can 1v1 in a fairly formidable way and draw it out. It's quite irritating, makes great for split pushing, and even better for that tanking. So the Ornn, I was a little bit skeptical, but yay, so I think you've got me on the Church of Ornn now.
Good, you're in the right place.
I'm an initiate.
I think you will be rewarded for your faith here. And the biggest thing to note there is Wiz. Teton stepping forward, dashes in aggressively, and Aegis is actually going to pick up the kill. The wave through the team there is going to set up a double kill here for the Trundle. And while Teton will go down, it is 2 dead. Make it 3 now for the side of Kabum. It's Aegis popping off here, looking for the quadra kill. Guigo going to end up picking up that kill, and Skuro will escape with their life, but that is all. The rest of Kabum is 6 feet under, and Red have turned onto the Baron.
Yeah, Skuro's trying so hard to put in the work, and you can see it in the score line, the 3-1-6, just against all odds, but really is just playing the supporting character to a bunch of unhinged, escaped toddlers.
Gongs.
It's sort of like,
Oh,
yeah, like there's something about being a support that's got a 3-1-6 scoreline with half of the kills of the other team that you're just like, why will these, like, how do these toddlers keep escaping? I've set up so many different gates, I've set up so many traps, and yet somehow my ADC keeps escaping and getting murdered. It's a frustrating experience for Kabum for sure.
you're
Definitely.
babysitting the Rugrats, right?
Yeah,
You got Tommy Pickles over here with his
they're
tools
intelligent, they're
breaking
well
out of everything.
behaved, they're a
Yeah.
pleasure to have around, but sometimes they just go off the wall, like
Hmm.
leave a screwdriver in that kid's diaper and he's out of control. I mean, reminds me of that toy Renekton skin that they've got.
They've
I
got a
still think,
Reptar. Yeah.
yeah, they got a. Oh my God, they've got a Reptar. You're right, Grepthar, Reptar. This is already getting so confusing, but you've done it. You've done something special here. I do want to say, I still think Kabum has had a fairly formidable performance, and it almost feels like maybe I'm being too severe on Red because, of course, you know they're the team that I'm like favored and cheering for in this situation. But as a commentator, I try to just watch the game as it's happening. Truly doesn't feel like that Kabum is that bad, and this maybe should have been more of a stomp on the side of Red. So I think we still have some good games ahead of us, and I don't think this one is particularly over per se, especially considering how much trouble Duds the Boy has been giving Red. So let's just take a look. They're closing in here, trying to get that pick, trying to punish the fact that they're separated, but the culling comes in and causes problems. So what are the problems?
Teton dashing in, looking for Skuro. How's likely going to go down, but actually able to survive thanks to the reset. They're turning around and taking out Teton. The AD carry is dead. Maybe the opposing one soon to follow.
Oh!
Duds the Boy, though, will survive. Is able to cut away long enough to take out the Trundle. Guigo does pick up the kill, but is now by himself. But Grevthar has finally arrived, is hunting here for House. Is not going to be able to lock down the Ahri for the time being. Dash in there from the Ornn is going to knock up Wiz, and Grevthar will pick up that kill. And that is the huge key. If Skuro survives long enough, you can keep your team alive with the Renata Glask passive. If you can get that timely kill, you live through that damage and you can reset these fights. It's happened for Wiz here. It happened for Duds the Boy in an earlier fight, and that is the key to Kabum surviving in these team fights.
Gosh, if we had just had a little bit of a better lane phase for Parang, but let's go ahead and see what actually happens here. I'm a little bit curious.
Yeah, Guigo is going to get taken down. Very easy pickup here. The low health bar on the Ornn means he is an easy target there for the flanking Kabum. Grevthar trying to retreat to the safety of Jojo, who will get in just in time, get a little bit of a heal, some movement speed buff there for the Swain, and he will get out of trouble. How's going to pick up this blue buff, and Red back onto the map. 15 seconds on this Drake, 2 apiece. But the Red Canids have picked up both Infernal Drakes so far. They're looking to make it 3. Teton wants to dash in. Once again, they've kind of caught out House. House has to dash over the wall. Will get out of trouble. The catch there from Skuro forces the cleanse out of Teton. Red Canids still in a very good spot, especially considering the low health bar there for House. Parang dashing in, but the Croc gets melted. It's a kill for Teton, and they're looking for more. Wiz backing away. The snipe, though, onto Teton. The spear catches the AD carry, and Red Canids have to back away.
Guigo has a teleport up. He's up in 2 seconds. We'll see if we can get that one off the board here. Here it comes, that flank from the Ornn. Oh my God, so it's gonna happen here.
It just has to run. Guigo is in for the flank. The Ornhorn will catch one, but it's not going to save Jojo. It just has to flash over the wall. Kabum turn their eyes towards this Drake. They will pick up their third. It is now sole point for Kabum. And I was going to say it, you were kind of setting it up, how good these teams have played in this game. The scoreboard does not tell the entire story of this game. It may be an 8-kill differential and about 5k gold lead for Red Canids. This game is much closer than it appears.
Absolutely. It's one bad team fight on the side of Red Canids to actually let everything go to hell for them, unfortunately. I mean, Kabum, like you said, the scoreline does not reflect the full story here. Red Canids has been getting away in these engages by the skin of their teeth or by the grace of the timer gods. So it's been very much almost a lucky thing. Both teams playing an excellent game, but actually quite impressed with how Kabum annulled Ornn. Go ahead. Yeah, they did steal it. They did indeed steal it.
I didn't even see that.
I'm so sorry. I should have said something. I absolutely noticed that. I was like, yes, I know. I'm bad. Sometimes.
No, that's not your fault. It's just like, I didn't even consider it. But yeah, there's a Swain. Like,
Yeah,
of
there's a Swain
course.
there just sitting there waiting to hit that R again for the second time and to be like, no, that's mine, actually. That's my
Oh
dragon.
my god.
Yeah, that,
I mean,
it was
you're
funny
just
when I,
Mia pinging your jungler at that point, right? You're
yeah.
mashing their smite cooldown in chat. Like, come on, Wiz.
You say I just like you're saying like I could take your job at any minute if you want. Like I am holding my R here as you're sort of threatening as a Swain a bit, you know? It's a little bit, it's kind of mean to keep your guy on check here. Oh, we have the Ornhorn come out here. The turret in the middle goes down as well. And honestly, are you seeing how none of these hits are landing anything at all on Guigo? Nothing at
Yeah,
all.
he doesn't really care all that much. It
He's
takes
on
you
a
a
walk.
lot of time to work through that health bar. Parag dashes in, but right to his death, he gets absolutely melted. Hao's able to get
That
in and take
ace
out
though.
JoJo here. Is just going to escape for the time being, but Teton is on the case. And good night. Hao's a 7th kill there for Teton. And Red turn their eyes towards the base. Such a back and forth affair here, Kari. This has been a crazy
This
start to
is
this series.
fun. Yeah, for my first game, I mean, obviously, I'm a bit rusty. I haven't commentated for about
Ah,
2 months now, but for my first time, like, commentating in 2 months is actually an incredibly fun game. It's keeping us on our toes. Like I said, I thought I was dreaming when I saw that third Infernal Drake pop up on the side of Red. So, I mean, this is super fun, super dynamic, and let's just see how this Baron plays out. Guigo has half a health bar, which is more than he's been able to, like, 1v9 with that so far. It's been disgusting. So, looks like we're waiting patiently for a TP in to try to steal this
oh,
Baron. What happens next?
Aegis has to back away. The snipe once again from Wiz
Yep,
forces the Trundle out of the pit, and now Kabum say this Baron belongs to
I would
us.
like it.
Red are still posturing. They still want to deny this. Skuro taking a lot of damage. Is
Pulling,
so very low.
goddamn.
Will get a little bit of sustain for survival, but is going to get popped there. Grefthar going to take the kill. Teton caught once again. It has been a theme in all of these fights. And Teton is down, shut down there for House. Now they're trying to chase out Guigo and Grefthar on the top side. Parang wants to dash in. It has cost you many times so far today, but no lack of confidence there for the Kabum top laner. House here hunting for the charms. JoJo will escape. Kabum will turn their eyes back towards the Baron, but Red still confident that they can contest. They still want to deny this neutral objective. Aegis stepping in, clears out a ward, teleport on its way. Guigo is on his way back, does not have the
Oh
Ornhorn
my
available,
god,
so that is a
Chad
key ultimate not
Guigo!
available in this fight. Grefthar stepping forward, into the pit goes the Trundle, but he's going to go down. Wiz with
Oh
the
my
kill. Grefthar flashes away, but still
god!
going to fall. Does the boy dies as well. Now jumping over the wall, Wiz will survive, goes gold to make sure that the Baron doesn't finish off the Nidalee. And guess what? Still no Baron for either squad here at
This
37
is
minutes.
the longest Baron dance. This is literally the Baron dance by Kansas the band with like those really long solos in the middle. Like this is just so much tension. I'm actually having a really hard time. Like especially Guido keeps coming in here and it just looks like such a Chad, such a 1v5 Chad every time he shows up. So to be able to like almost not single-handedly, second-handedly, double-handedly keep them off that Baron, get that reset. That was a long ass Baron dance that could have caused serious problems for either team and has completely like, don't you feel like exhausted from something where we really didn't even gain anything either, Yeso? Nothing happened really in the last, like, it was a fun Baron dance to watch. I love those prolonged fights, but like, goddamn, we just walked away and we're in the same place we were before.
Hey, you know what we got? We got more CBLOL. All
More
right. Game one is
CBLOL!
not done yet, and I am here for it. I also love
Keeping
the
it
fact that,
positive.
like, Teton, the Lucian fills such an interesting role in the late game because of the short range and how you kind of fall off a little bit in the late game. And Teton has recognized that and just understands that he has to kind of play as aggressively as possible to become that kind of focal point and threat. And it opens the door for Grevthar to become an absolute nuisance in these fights. So Teton continuing to play aggressively as they take out Duds the Boy. That's huge. And it's going to chase down Wiz. The jungler is gone. And that means, well, Red were able to get a steal this game. Kabum not going to be able to match it here on this Drake. This will be Infernal Soul for Red Canids in a game that has been so close for so long, might have just been busted completely open.
Yeah, it looks like that might be the very last death that Duds the Boy can actually spare to delay this game. They're going to go over, Red is going over to go over to this Baron and just seal the deal. Finish what they tried to end like 7 minutes ago. So go ahead and take this Baron out and clear out that red side of the jungle. Duds the boy still on top of the gold as well. I just want to point that out that, you know, like we had said before, scoreline doesn't necessarily represent that there are members of Kabum here who have really tried to put forth the effort. Specifically, Skro has done the very best that they possibly can. Duds the Void, great team fight positioning, but unfortunately, there is just nothing to be done in the face of this Chad Ornn, the chaddest of the Orns, and it looks like we're starting to slowly whittle down to the end here. That doesn't mean Kabum still just needs that one good fight, so that's the joy of this game in particular, is that the tension is not going to let up because they still have the possibility of overcoming.
Yeah, the hard part though is that Infernal Soul picked up from Red minimizes the scaling
Yeah.
gap in between the AD carries and maximizes it in the top
Oh,
lane for the side of Red
realist.
Canids. So Kabum,
Realist Yeso out here with the facts.
they're in a very tough spot here, and you could tell because Teton just so confident to step up to the top lane and just tries to delete Duds the boy and is going to do so. You're not going to get the kill for the reset there. Down goes the Aphelios, and Parang going to dash forward, but just dash
Oh.
forward to his death. Wiz running, trying to escape, is going to go gold, but is just going to go to a gilded death there as Red Canids will take down the Kabum jungler for dead. It is just House here to protect the base, but a 1v5 is not the odds in your favor here, House. You're just going to have to run to safety. Grevthar looking to just clean this up and pick up the ace. The assist going to be there for Jojo. The Nexus will fall, and Red Canids start this